Yo, yo. Okay, part two of this video. What was I talking about? DIY kind of questions. Okay, so to me, when I read this, this is, can I do drywall mudding myself? So this is kind of a DIY question, but how I would like you to kind of, a thought you can have while assessing these questions is, how can the writer actually write this to our, like, to the content that we would need? So can I do drywall mudding myself? The writer could very easily just take this question and be like, hey, this, you can do drywall mudding yourself, but it is a difficult, complex task, and it is better done by a professional. So this is a DIY question that the writer could very easily spin to emphasize that it's better, most likely, or more advantageous to hire a professional. So that right there, I think, is a good question. So I'm going to mark it as a good question. I highlighted this because this is another example. So this is another DIY question that I don't think would be very easy for the writers to spin, I guess, to hiring a professional. So how do I blend new drywall mud with existing mud? So this is talking about kind of a DIY process that we don't really want to provide that kind of information to the public. We would rather say for them to hire a professional. So this would be a question that I would mark in this DIY column right here. Okay, so this is just kind of, I don't think, a very valuable question that we can have on our site. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's see what else. How do I clean up after drywall mudding? Like the writers could write about like how we clean up after drywall mudding, but I don't know. I don't think that's like the best question. I'm just going to mark it as DIY. It's pretty DIY-y. This one right here. Can I use drywall mud to fill nail holes? Sure, you probably can, but like, do we want to, does that add value to our page? Talking about how someone could do this themselves? I don't think so. So I'm going to mark it as DIY. So essentially these DIY questions are most likely ones that we are not going to use. Okay, so I'm just going to keep riffing. This is super riveting for everyone. Okay, so how long does drywall mudding take? This is a great question. So this is a question that the writer can take and be like, oh, these are all the factors that affect how long drywall mudding takes, blah, blah, blah. Here is how long it takes. Okay, so that is a good question that the writers can write about. What tools are needed for drywall mudding? I don't know. That one, I would say that's kind of DIY. So something to think about is buyer intent. So do these questions have, like, do they cater to our audience that is looking to have drywall work done? So what tools are needed for drywall mudding? This is someone that's looking to do it themselves and they want to know the specifics of what tools they need. So I don't think that that is the best question to have one here because we want them to hire a professional. Hopefully that makes sense. What type of mud should I use for drywalling? I'm going to mark that as DIY. If this question was, what type of mud is, actually scratch that, I don't know where I was going with that. Okay, next question. What is the difference between drywall mud and joint compound? Perfect. This is a great question. So this is a question that we can very easily get the writers to provide an educational answer to. So this is great. I'm going to mark this as a good question. We'll just keep going. How do I prepare the surface? How do I prepare the surface before mudding drywall? DIY. We don't need to teach people how to do that because we do it already. Can I mud over existing drywall? I don't know. It's pretty DIY. And like, honestly, if you're not sure, just put like a question mark. Just apply some kind of like critical thinking to this. Just wing it, Taryn. That's all we're doing anyways. So do the best you can. Play around with it. If you have any questions, of course, you can always let me know. Yeah, essentially is I kind of want you to just roll through these questions and just mark if you think that they're good for a service page? Do you think that it would be valuable to put this question on our service page about drywall mudding? Okay, so that's drywall mudding, and then there are all of these guys right here. So all of these yellow ones, they need to be assessed so that we can have a big old bank account of questions that we can apply on our sites. So this is kind of step 1 for you to work on. Step 2, which I will make a whole other video for, whatever, we'll have you working on it kind of once you're comfortable with this and you kind of get an idea of what kind of questions we want on our sites. Then we will roll through and go through what we have assigned for the next few months, and we will get questions assigned to each one of our sites and each one of the pages that we think is necessary. Yeah, if you want to, there's a bunch of work that I've already done on this sheet. So ceiling repair, for example, you'll see I went through and marked which questions I thought were good and should be on a service page. So if you want, take a little roll through there and just kind of get an idea of more examples of questions that I think are appropriate for a service page. Yeah, honestly, we'll start there, and I hope you have so much fun, and I hope you sit in your beautifully cleaned house and read some questions. Thanks, Pod. Have a good day. Bye.